What if I told you that tech companies are spending millions of dollars trying to build AI systems that can remember a conversation from 5 minutes ago, while you're sitting there with a device in your head that can recall the smell of your grandmother's house from 20 years ago? It gets even stranger than that. Engineers at Google and OpenAI are trying to replicate something you do every single second without even realizing it. Your brain isn't just a computer. It's a computer that scientists still don't understand how it actually works. So if we tried to put a number on this thing, how much storage would your memory actually have? The answer will make you look at your own head completely differently. If this channel is new to you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And if you're already here, a like genuinely makes a difference for me. Let me start from a slightly unusual place. In 2011, IBM built a computer called Watson. This computer entered a famous American game show called Jeopardy and beat 2 human champions. People thought machines had finally become smarter than us. But the truth is, Watson needed an entire room full of servers, consumed enough electricity to power 100 homes, and all of that just to do something your brain does while you're asleep, using less energy than the light bulb in your bedroom. To understand why your brain is this remarkable, we need to talk about how it actually works. Imagine a city with 86 billion residents. Each one of them is connected to their neighbors through thousands of different pathways. When a message needs to get from one place to another, it doesn't travel in a straight line. It passes through many people along the way, and each one adds something to it. That's exactly what happens inside your head. Neurons communicate with each other in a complex dance that no computer in the world can replicate with the same efficiency. And a single neuron can communicate with 10,000 other neurons. Multiply that by 86 billion, and you'll understand why scientists are losing their minds trying to figure out the brain. In 2016, researchers from Stanford University conducted a strange experiment. They took a tiny piece of a mouse's brain cortex, a piece smaller than a grain of sand, and tried to create a 3-dimensional map of all the connections inside it. The result was staggering. That tiny piece required 100 terabytes of data just to map it. Now imagine an entire human brain. But let me be honest with you. This whole idea of measuring memory in gigabytes has a major problem. The brain doesn't work like a hard drive at all. A hard drive stores files in specific locations, like putting your books on a particular shelf. The brain works in a completely different way. When you remember your wedding day, for example, it doesn't go to one spot to fetch the memory. Different parts of your brain work together. One part retrieves the images, another retrieves the sounds, another retrieves the feelings, and they assemble all of that in an instant. It's more like an orchestra. No single musician plays the entire song. Each one plays their part, and you hear the final result as one complete piece of the music. That's why, when scientists try to put a number on memory capacity, they disagree wildly. Some say terabytes, some say petabytes. The difference can be 1,000-fold. Why such disagreement? Part of the reason is that the brain uses incredibly clever tricks. First, it does compression. When you first learn to drive, your brain stores every single detail. How to hold the steering wheel, how to press the gas, how to check the mirrors. After a while, all of that gets compressed into a single pattern called driving. This saves enormous amounts of space. Second, the brain does something called pruning. Neural connections you don't use start to disappear. Like roads that nobody walks on, eventually the weeds cover them and they vanish. This isn't a flaw. It's a feature. It makes your brain more efficient. If you haven't stopped to hit like yet, do it now. Likes help the video reach more people, and that encourages me to keep going. Now let me give you an approximate number based on the latest research. A study from the Salk Institute in 2016 discovered something that changed all the calculations. Until then, scientists thought each neural connection stored one type of information, either on or off, like a bit in a computer. But this study discovered that a single connection can have 26 different sizes, and each size represents different information. So one connection doesn't store 1 bit. It stores approximately 4.7 bits. When they recalculated with this new information, it turned out that an adult human brain can store around 1 petabyte of information. A petabyte is 1 million gigabytes. If you want to visualize that number, it's enough to store 13.5 years of HD video playing continuously without stopping. But wait, that number is still just an estimate. Why? Because the brain does things that don't exist in any computer. For example, the brain can modify itself. Every time you learn something new, new connections form. Every time you forget something, connections weaken or disappear. It's like having a hard drive that grows and shrinks based on your needs. Also, the brain stores information in an almost holographic way. If part of the brain gets damaged, memories don't completely disappear. There are people living with only half a brain who lead nearly normal lives. That would be impossible with any computer. So the important question is this. If our memory is this massive, why do we forget where we put our phone? The answer is surprising. You're not actually forgetting. The information is probably there. The problem is you can't reach it. The brain works on a system of triggers. When you smell a certain scent and suddenly remember a moment from long ago, that smell was the trigger. When you can't find your keys, the problem is you can't find the right trigger. Scientists call this retrieval failure. The memory exists, but the path to it is blocked. This explains why sometimes you remember something after you stop thinking about it. Your brain was working in the background, searching for the path. There's one last important point. The brain doesn't store memories like a camera records video. Every time you recall a memory, you're actually reconstructing it from scratch. This means memories change over time. You might remember something that happened years ago and be absolutely certain about specific details, and those details never actually happened. This isn't lying. This is the nature of the brain. That's why eyewitness testimony has become highly questionable in recent years. Many people have been imprisoned based on testimonies from people who were certain about what they saw, only for it to turn out their memory had deceived them. So if you want to maintain this brain of yours and keep it working at its best, there are things science says actually make a difference. And first, sleep. While you're sleeping, your brain isn't resting. It's working overtime. It organizes memories, discards what's unimportant, strengthens what matters. People who sleep poorly have noticeably affected memory. Not 5 or 6 hours, 7 to 9 hours. Second, movement. You don't have to go to the gym. Walk for half an hour a day. Blood reaches your brain better, and the brain works better. Studies show that regular walking reduces the chance of dementia by 40%. Third, learn new things. Every time you learn something new, new connections form. Whether it's a new language, a musical instrument, or even a new recipe, the brain is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. Fourth, and this might be the most important, social relationships. People with strong social connections have better memory as they age. This is because interacting with people activates many parts of the brain simultaneously. In the end, whether your memory is terabytes or petabytes, the number isn't that important. What matters is that you're carrying inside your head a device unlike anything else in the entire universe. A device that evolved over millions of years to help you survive, learn, and remember. A device that scientists are still discovering new things about every single day. So next time you forget something, don't be hard on yourself. Your brain isn't weak. It's just managing millions of things at the same time. And that in itself is a miracle. If you made it this far, you're one of those people who genuinely loves understanding how the world works. Leave me a comment below and tell me what you think. And if you have a question that's been puzzling you, write it down. It might become the topic of the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.